Hi there, and welcome to Bullet Journal Your Finances. I'm Katie, one of the librarian assistants here at the Public Library of Mount Vernon in Knox County. 2020 has been a crazy year for all of us, whether you've lost your job, had your hours cut, or you're just waiting for your stimulus package. There's a lot going on with our finances. And as Dave Ramsey likes to say, you can tell your money where to go, or you can wonder where it went. So today's tutorial is going to be determining what to do with this so that we can tell our money where to go instead of wondering where it went. There's going to be 3 different projects today. For this one, I would recommend getting a quad-ruled notebook. You can get it anywhere that you can get office supplies. It has boxes instead of lines. It makes tracking things a little bit easier, although if all you have is a piece of paper, that works too. So let's get started. Okay, our first page is going to be a summary page. I am not sure how well you can see this, but I have my budget at a glance, and I included a little calendar of the month where you could put when your bills are due or when you get paid. There is also starting and ending for your balances for your checking and savings. You can put the amount and the days that you're getting paid here, and a list of your monthly bills. One of the great things about bullet journaling is you can make it any way you want, so you can completely customize it. Since this is for next month, I decided to dress things up a little bit with the little pumpkin and the little crescent moons. I'm going to be using a pencil, but then you can feel free to go over what you do again with markers or colored pencils or anything else to make it pretty. So the first thing I'm going to do is the title on the top, and I'm not an artist, so it doesn't matter what it looks like, but I'm just going to draw my little pumpkin here, and the pumpkin is the capital letter for October. And then just to dress up my letters a little bit, I did the little slashes. Almost did another letter instead of the little pumpkin. You can make your titles as fancy or as simple as you want. All right, so we've got October, and then we've got budget, and then I just wrote at a glance at the bottom to let me know that it's an overview. So for the calendar, I made the boxes 3 by 3, which is where having graph paper makes things a little easier. So the top one is going to be 3 by 4 though, so that we can put our headlines in. And with bullet journaling, if you want to start with Monday instead of Sunday, you can do that. Or if you don't want to wait for a new month to start, you can really start on any day that you want. And October's got 31 days, so we got to make sure to add that. All right, so here's our calendar. And you can buy stickers or you can draw symbols, whatever you want to denote when things are due or when you get paid. So, for example, you could do like a little $sign on your paydays. When your cell phone is due, you could draw a little cell phone. Just whatever is going to help you remember when things are due. All right, and now I'm gonna do my starting balances. And for this, I just did a circle and then kind of did a crescent shape. You can use a bottle cap or something similar to make your circles look more like circles. But you're the only one that's going to be seeing this, so it doesn't have to be fancy. Okay, and then you can put your dollar amount in for your starting balance. One of the reasons I picked crescent moons for this part is hopefully at least your savings account will have more in it by the end of the month. So then you can make the moon a little bigger to kind of make it seem like you're making progress. I'm a really visual learner and I like being able to see progress. And that's one way that you can do it. So then I had here where I was going to write in my paycheck, and you can put in that you're going to get paid on 10/9 and 10/23 in this case. And since I ran out of room, we'll make it $500 for each paycheck so that you can better plan. And then the last part is pretty easy. These are your monthly bills, so it's not your unexpected expenses or variable expenses like groceries or gas. These are the things that you know exactly how much you have to pay and when you have to pay it. So we're going to have a column for the name and how much, and then we're going to have the date that it's due. And I like to have a column too that is the date you paid. So in case there's any issues, you'll have a record. So that's our overview of the month. You'll want to do a check register or something like it for your variable expenses, but with this, it'll be easier to determine when you're going to pay things and making sure that your money stretches as far as it needs to go. All right, our next example is a no spend challenge. I picked November just because it has 30 days and no spend November kind of has a nice ring to it. All right, so to do this one, I'm gonna first draw the international no symbol. And again, if you want it to be a perfect circle, you can trace something. And then for this one, I didn't make the headline super fancy because we're focusing on not being fancy for this one. All right, and then I leave a little note for myself that says to spend only on essentials. All right, so again, I used a 3x3 box just because it makes big enough that you can do something fun with it, but at the same time isn't taking up too much of the page. And then between the boxes, I gave myself 4 for space. So then I just have to give myself 30 boxes. And then for the second line, I give 3 boxes of space between the rows, and then I stagger them. That'll make our arrows have enough room to be apparent. And again, you can make this as complicated or as simple as you want. I haven't actually tried a no spend challenge yet, but I know I need to do one. And while you're working on this, you can think about some prize or special event to celebrate being able to go through the whole month, or even if it's just a week. You don't have to do an entire month. We all know those unexpected expenses come up. And if you're like me, you might rely on retail therapy a little more than you should. I've seen a lot of people do different themed no spend challenges. One of the ones that I thought was really fun was they used Pac-Man. So instead of arrows, they had like the little pellets and then like a piece of fruit. Pinterest is great for having different ideas if you want to do something fancy. I find if I make my pages pretty, I tend to not use them because it takes too long to make them, and then I don't want to mess it up. So then, as the month goes on, if you didn't spend any money on anything that you don't need, then you can exit off anything to denote what you accomplished. Most of us are dealing with some kind of debt. There's a lot of different methods to pay down your debt. I tend to prefer the debt snowball method because it shows a little bit more progress quicker. So here's our mountain of debt. One of the things that I like about this is you're going to work from the top to the bottom. So your smallest debt goes on top. And with the boxes, you can make the boxes whatever amount you want it to be. So since I made this one smaller, I made the box worth $100. So every time I paid $100, I can color in one of these boxes. Again, this one I did the title pretty simple. Now this one I am going to use a straight edge just because I want my mountain to look more triangular. In the giveaway packets, I have some sample get out of debt pages that are actually shaped like whatever the debt happens to be. So, for example, if you have a car payment, it has a car. All right, so then in my example, I gave myself 4 debts. So I'm going to give myself 3 lines so I can have my 4 debts. So then I write what each of the debts is and how much it is. Now, one thing you can do to make the math a little easier is determining how much you want a box to be worth and then figuring out how many boxes are in that spot so you know how big to make each section of the mountain. Or you can do it like I'm doing it, where you say, oh, well, I know this is my biggest debt, so I need more boxes, and then determining how much each box will be worth. And here's where color coding would be great. As you can see in my sample, I use the top in red, the next one in green, and then pink and blue. That's just another way to help differentiate between them. And that way, if your boxes mean different dollar amounts, you won't get confused. So I'm going to draw myself a little key, and you could put the key up in the corner. And again, while you're figuring out what it's going to take to get yourself out of debt, plan different incentives. That's all I have. I hope that you found it helpful. Feel free to come visit me at the reference desk to show me what you came up with, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.